But the RNC spokesman, Doug High, told us today that while he couldn't go into the detail about the rationale that was used because they don't divulge internal decisions about things like fundraising, the RNC's legal department thinks that their mailers don't violate the new law. The law that everybody thought was written specifically in response to their creepy fake census mailers. And so they are continuing to send them out. Joining us now is the original sponsor of the Prevent Deceptive Census Lookalike Mailings Act, Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, Democrat of New York. Congresswoman Maloney, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for raising the attention and putting a spotlight on this violation.
Well, let me ask you about the overall rationale here. How much damage do you think that mailers like this do? Why do you think it's important that something like this be banned?
Oh, well, we're still in full swing with the census, and it's very deceptive, and it's sad that the RNC is trying to make a partisan buck over and trying to deceive people in the process. We need an accurate account, and this is totally misleading.
Do you agree with the Republican National Committee's legal department that this latest census mailer that they've sent out after the law was passed, that it doesn't violate the law?
It appears to have violated the spirit of the law. I have written to the Postal Department to make a determination on whether or not it violates it, but clearly it was dated 5 days after President Obama signed it into law. At the very least, Mr. Steele should check with his Republican members of Congress, because they all voted for it and don't approve of the actions that are taking place.
One other RNC spokesperson made what I thought was a pretty novel argument about this. They told the Spokesman Review newspaper that the party wasn't breaking the law with this new mailer because the post office would have rejected a mailer that wasn't in compliance with the new law, essentially saying that they've been cleared and that these mailers are legal because the post office delivered the mail. What do you make of that argument?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. The law was very clear. My law stated that you had to have a return address and the sender, and the documents that I've seen do not have that. And in fact, it's very misleading. In very large print, they say, do not destroy official government document, and in very small type, the disclaimer. So it appears to be very misleading, and it appears to be a direct violation of the law, certainly the intent of the law.
The chairman of the Nebraska's Democratic Party has also, like you, filed a complaint with the U.S. Postal Service about these mailers. Is that the appropriate avenue? Is that the only avenue that's open for anybody who wants to register a violation of this law?
They should write the Postal Department and ask for clarification. That is what I have done, and Chairman Clay and other Democrats, to get a determination officially from the Postal Office. It appears definitely not to reach the law that we passed, but there may be other mailers out there that are different that do have the RNC as the return address. The ones that I have seen that have been sent to me do not have a return address. They do not have a sender. It says census, so it appears to be in clear violation of the law. And it happened 5 days after it passed unanimously and was signed into law by President Obama.
Oh, well, what's a law signed by the president and passed unanimously by both houses of Congress? These things we swat away. Democratic Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney of New York, sponsor of the Prevent Deceptive Census Lookalike Mailings Act, which is, in fact, U.S. law. Thank you very much for your time tonight, ma'am.
Thank you for putting a spotlight on it, Rachel. Thank you.
Mother's Day just a couple of weeks away. What do you get for the mother who has everything? It does depend on how much you have to spend, but there is a company in Russia marketing something right now that I bet your mother does not have. Portable cruise missiles that secret themselves away inside what look like totally ordinary generic shipping containers, of which there are millions in every country all around the globe, which means that cruise missiles powerful enough to take out an aircraft carrier, I am not kidding, are now being marketed as ready to plug and play and be surreptitiously moved anywhere it isn't weird to have a shipping container. It's called the Club K missile system. It's being marketed by a company based in Russia that calls itself More Inform System-AGAT. They've put out this really spiffy promotional video that you can see on our website today at the Maddow blog. It shows how you can mount this shipping container with the missiles inside it on a train or on a truck or on a ship, and nobody's going to know what's in it. It just looks like a normal shipping container until you hit the button. An editor at Jane's Defense Weekly, which first reported on the existence of Club K, says, quote, "This Club K is game-changing. The threat is immense in that no one can tell how far deployed your missiles could be. Or, frankly, who might have missiles at all." Jane's estimates that the price tag for these things will be between $10 and $20 million. Not radically out of the reach of lots of people who I'd feel uncomfortable having the secret capacity to blow up one of our aircraft carriers. Or, say, Baltimore. The Telegraph newspaper in the UK says the Club K missile system was recently marketed at the Defense Services Asia exhibition in Malaysia. Again, the creepy, very high-res video of the Club K Russian missile system is posted at Maddow blog today. Nightmares about even non-nuclear runaway weapons proliferation are available every night inside my head. As the Republican Party searches for meaning in the political minority, Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa continues to beat the type of path through the wilderness that not everyone has the courage to follow. You may recall that right up until health reform became law, Senator Grassley was one of the most vocal opponents of the legislation.
You have every right to fear. We should not have a government program that determines you're going to pull the plug on grandma.
This spring, Senator Grassley even joined the chorus of Republicans claiming that health reform was unconstitutional. Specifically, he said a mandate that people have to get insurance was the unconstitutional thing, even though Senator Grassley himself proposed a health insurance mandate back when Republicans were opposed to President Clinton's health reform ideas, too. Senator Chuck Grassley is just plain against that health reform bill. He didn't vote for it. He said it would kill your grandma. He said even the parts of it that were his own ideas were unconstitutional. He even went into deeper cloud cuckoo conspiracyville against it when he said it would magically conjure up 16,000 more IRS agents. He's really, really against it. Except now he's for it. IowaPolitics.com today posting Senator Grassley's press release in which the senator is now bragging on how much that health reform bill he voted against is going to be great for the folks back home in Iowa. Quote, "I worked successfully to improve Medicare payments to doctors in rural states as part of health care reform enacted this year. I voted against it and it'll kill your grandma, but if there's any chance you like it, would you mind giving me credit for it?" Senator Grassley is up for re-election in November. Needless to say. The John Birch Society tried to convince Americans in the middle of the last century that the drive to put fluoride in drinking water was a communist mind control plot. The John Birch Society also tried to convince Americans that not only was President Eisenhower a conscious, dedicated agent of the communist conspiracy, but that President Eisenhower's controlling agent in the communist conspiracy, the commie to whom Ike reported for his commie instructions, was his brother Milton. And he looks so nice. The John Birch Society was actually helpful to some very conservative politicians for a while. They supported Barry Goldwater, for example. But at some point, some big-thinking conservatives realized that whatever help conservatives could get from John Birch conspiracy theories riling up the base, it was probably outweighed by people at large associating conservatives with the people who thought the communists were mind-controlling you through the water and the president. You know, some combination of good dental care and Milton Eisenhower. So the John Birch Society got exiled, essentially, from the conservative movement back in the 60s. They had only barely survived out beyond the fringes for decades after that. Until this past year, the conservative movement decided to bring them back into the fold. The John Birch Society was invited to co-sponsor the big CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference in Washington this year. At CPAC, I sat down and talked with them. They were still trying to sell me on the evils of fluoride, I kid you not. But we had a nice time, actually. Just about everybody at CPAC, including the folks from the John Birch Society, were very nice to me. I spent some quality time hanging out with them. I did not learn very much, but we certainly had a pleasant and cordial time. Given our spirited repartee and hate-free jousting, I was surprised when one of our excellent viewers recently brought this to our attention. It's a new 6-page John Birch Society fundraising letter, which has gone out to their supporters. On page 5, it says this, quote, We know that the other side is watching our growth with alarm. Recently, we were attacked on the air by MSNBC commentator Rachel Maddow. We responded to her time-worn charges online the next day. The third day, she responded to our reply, so we know she and others are monitoring our website. She has stated that one of her goals for 2010 is to eliminate groups like ours from the political scene. To her, we say, lots of luck. While I gladly take all the luck I can get, let it be known that I have not stated any goals for 2010, at least not publicly, and the ones I cop to privately are things like, don't eat so much fried cheese, Maddow. Not even doing very well at that one. As for stating that it is a goal of mine to eliminate groups like the John Birch Society in 2010, it's simply and totally not true. I have not done that, needless to say, at all. It's a lie. And while I am flattered that the John Birch Society thinks I am powerful enough to threaten them, I'm probably not.